Imagine waking up each morning with a clear mind, not dreading the day, not already overwhelmed by what ifs or who said what. Just stillness, clarity. That's not a fantasy. That's your brain on peace. But getting there isn't luck. It's wiring, or more accurately, rewiring. Your mind isn't stuck in stress mode. It's simply trained that way. The good news? It can be trained in a different direction. One that leads straight to calm, confidence, and unbothered power. Most people don't realize how programmable the brain really is. We grow up responding to chaos, absorbing emotional patterns from our parents, our environment, and society. If you were surrounded by tension, uncertainty, criticism, or noise, your mind adapted for survival. It learned to stay alert, to overthink, to assume danger. That's not a character flaw. It's a coping mechanism, but it's outdated now. You don't need to be in survival mode anymore. You need peace mode. And that starts with understanding how your brain can be retrained to work for you, not against you. Your thoughts are not random. They follow patterns. Every time you think a certain way, whether it's worrying about the future, replaying past conversations, or predicting rejection, your brain strengthens that neural pathway. Think of it like walking through a forest. The more you walk the same path, the clearer it becomes. Eventually, it becomes automatic. This is what happens with anxious thinking, defensive behavior, and emotional reactivity. But guess what? The brain can also create new paths. If you start thinking in ways that center peace, acceptance, and neutrality, those become the new default routes. And yes, at first, it will feel uncomfortable. You'll feel tempted to go back to the old path. It's faster, it's familiar. But with time and repetition, the peaceful path becomes stronger. One of the most powerful ways to rewire the brain is through awareness. You can't change what you don't observe. Begin by noticing your mental habits. Pay attention to the moments your heart races, when your jaw clenches, when your thoughts spiral. Don't judge it, just observe. That pause alone starts to weaken the old patterns. You are teaching your brain, this is not an emergency. I don't need to react. This is how you slowly start shifting out of autopilot and into presence. Another tool is intention. Every morning, give your brain a focus. Don't just wake up and dive into emails, social media, or headlines. That's like handing the wheel of your peace over to chaos. Instead, set the tone for your mind. Say things like, today I choose clarity over confusion, or I allow peace to guide me. It might sound simple, but your brain responds to language. What you tell yourself becomes what you believe. Words shape biology. They direct attention. They become blueprints for behavior. When you affirm peace, even when it doesn't feel natural, you're giving your brain a target. Over time, it will aim for it more easily. Breath work is another underrated tool for mental rewiring. The breath is the remote control to the nervous system. When you breathe slow and deep, your brain receives the message, we are safe. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest mode. Your thoughts slow down, you get perspective, you return to the present. Practice this in small moments before a meeting, after a frustrating text, when you notice your thoughts racing. A few conscious breaths can interrupt the momentum of stress and redirect you toward calm. Do this often enough and your brain starts to choose calm instinctively. Stillness is also a training ground for peace. We live in a hyper-stimulated world where silence feels awkward and boredom is filled with noise, but when you allow yourself to just be without distractions, without scrolling, without jumping into reaction, you teach your brain to relax in neutral. That's huge. Most people think peace has to be earned by finishing the to-do list or resolving every problem. But peace isn't a reward, it's a practice. One that begins by reclaiming your attention and learning to sit with what is without immediately needing to fix, respond, or escape. Let's not forget the role of gratitude. Yes, it's a buzzword, but it's also brain science. Gratitude activates regions of the brain linked to emotional regulation and reward. When you train your mind to focus on what's working instead of what's missing, you rewire it for calm. You step out of the loop of lack, out of comparison, out of scarcity. And in that space, peace grows. Start small. At the end of each day, write down 3 things you're thankful for, no matter how small. This shifts your perception over time, and perception is everything. 2 people can live the same day, one in stress, the other in peace. The difference is what they see. Rewiring your brain for calm is not about ignoring problems or becoming passive. It's about creating a foundation of inner stillness so that when life does shake, you don't crumble. You become the calm in the storm. You respond, you don't react. You navigate from presence, not panic. That's what it means to have your brain on peace. It's not a destination, it's a decision, one you make over and over. Every time you choose observation over obsession, breath over reaction, clarity over confusion. Peace becomes not just something you experience, but something you are. And once your brain learns how to live there, you'll never want to leave. When you feel anxious, overwhelmed, irritated, or even shut down, it's easy to think something is wrong with you, that your mind is broken or you're just too sensitive. But here's the truth. Nothing is wrong with you. Your nervous system is doing its job. It's trying to protect you. It may not always get it right, and sometimes it overreacts, but it's not your enemy. It's your built-in survival system. The real issue is that most people don't understand how it works or how to work with it instead of against it. And if you want to live in a state of peace, power, and presence, you have to learn how to regulate your nervous system instead of constantly fighting it. Your nervous system is the connection between your brain and your body. It scans your environment for safety or danger 24/7, even when you're not consciously thinking about it. It's always asking one question: am I safe? And based on that answer, it triggers different responses. When it senses danger, real or perceived, it activates the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight mode. Your heart rate speeds up, your breath gets shallow, your muscles tense, and your mind becomes hyper-focused on potential threats. This is useful when you're in an actual emergency, but in modern life, most of the time we're not in physical danger. We're just stressed out by deadlines, people's opinions, texts left on read, or thoughts spiraling out of control. The nervous system doesn't know the difference between a tiger chasing you and an angry email. It just reacts. That's why understanding this system is key. Once you realize your responses aren't weakness or personality flaws, but nervous system states, you stop blaming yourself. You start getting curious. You begin asking, what is my body trying to tell me? That shift alone is powerful. Instead of spiraling, you ground. Instead of panicking, you listen. Your nervous system isn't trying to sabotage you. It's trying to protect you with the tools it's learned over time. The problem is many of those tools were developed in childhood or in environments where you had to stay small, be hyper aware, or suppress your needs just to stay safe or accepted. If you were raised in chaos, unpredictability, or emotional neglect, your system learned to stay alert, even when things seem calm. Calm can feel unfamiliar, and unfamiliar can feel dangerous to a system that equates chaos with normal. The key is to slowly teach your nervous system a new language, one of safety, softness, and self-trust. This isn't a quick fix, it's a reconditioning process. The same way muscles grow through consistent resistance and rest, your nervous system learns through repeated experiences of safety and recovery. One of the simplest, most powerful ways to begin is through breath. When you take slow, intentional breath, especially into your belly, this is your rest and digest state. It sends the signal, we are safe, there is no threat. Over time, this practice can shift your default setting from tension to calm. Another vital element is movement. Emotions live in the body. When your nervous system is dysregulated, energy gets stuck, shaking your limbs, stretching, walking, even dancing. These movements help discharge that trapped energy. It's not about doing an intense workout. It's about reconnecting with your body in a way that tells your system it's okay to let go now. If your nervous system has been on high alert for years, peace will feel unfamiliar. You might even feel anxious when things are calm. That's normal. Your system isn't broken. It's just learning something new. Be patient. Connection is another major factor. Safe relationships where you feel seen, heard, and not judged can be incredibly regulating. The nervous system is wired for co-regulation. That's why just being near someone who is calm and grounded can help you calm down too. But on the flip side, being around people who are chaotic, critical, or emotionally unpredictable can keep your system stuck in fight or flight. So part of nervous system regulation also includes protecting your energy, setting boundaries, and curating your environment in a way that feels nourishing, not draining. Language matters too. What you say to yourself influences your state. If your internal dialogue is harsh, fearful, or constantly critical, your system stays on edge. It thinks you're under threat because you keep telling it so. Shifting your self-talk to something more supportive, even if it's just saying, I'm okay right now, or this feeling will pass, can create space for calm to enter. Speak to yourself like someone you love, someone you're trying to reassure, not someone you're trying to discipline into stillness. The more you understand your nervous system, the more empowered you become. You stop seeing your reactions as weaknesses and instead view them as signals. You learn how to regulate instead of react. You create space between stimulus and response, and in that space, you gain freedom. Peace becomes a skill, not a fantasy. It becomes something you can return to even in chaos, not because the world is peaceful, but because you are. You don't have to fix yourself to feel better. You just have to reconnect with your body and learn how to respond to its signals with compassion, not control. Your nervous system isn't your enemy, it's your guide. And once you stop fighting it and start listening, you'll discover a new kind of strength, the kind that stays calm under pressure, grounded in uncertainty, and unbothered in the face. That's the power of peace from within. That's what happens when your nervous system finally feels safe. There's a moment in life when you realize that no matter how much you overthink, overanalyze, or overextend yourself, you still can't control everything. You can't control how people see you. You can't control how they respond. You can't force situations to unfold your way or make the timing perfect. And in that moment, when the illusion of control starts to fall apart, you're left with a choice. Hold on tighter and suffer, or let go and be free. That's what detachment is really about. Not apathy, not coldness, but freedom. Emotional freedom from things you were never meant to carry. Most of us are raised to believe that attachment equals love, care, or success. We attach to outcomes, timelines, people, identities, and expectations. We tell ourselves, if this works out, then I'll feel good. If they act right, then I can relax. If they stay, if they approve, if I win, if I look a certain way, then I'll feel okay. And with every attachment, we place our peace in something external, something unstable, something we don't fully control. That's where anxiety is born, not in the event itself, but in our resistance to letting go. Detachment is not giving up, it's giving in to reality, to the truth that you can influence but not control. You can show up, do your best, express yourself authentically, but what happens after that isn't up to you. That gap between effort and outcome is where so much of our suffering lives. We think we're being responsible by micromanaging every detail, by staying emotionally invested in things we've already done our part in. But that's not responsibility. That's bondage. You become a prisoner to other people's actions, moods, or decisions. You live in a constant state of emotional waiting for the message, the validation, the closure, the success. And while you wait, you shrink. You lose yourself in the tension of trying to control the uncontrollable. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care without attachment to the result. It means you trust yourself enough to believe that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. That if someone pulls away, you'll still have your center. That if a plan falls through, your purpose is still intact. That if life detours, it's not rejection, it's redirection. Detachment is a mindset rooted in self-trust. It says, I know who I am, I know what I bring, I release the outcome, and I choose peace over performance. When you practice detachment, you create space for people to be who they are without it shaking your sense of self, space for life to flow without constantly resisting it. And in that space, you find clarity. You start to see what's actually working, not what you're trying to force. You stop clinging to what drains you. You stop chasing what doesn't choose you. You begin to realize that so much of what you once obsessed over was never yours to hold. And what is meant for you doesn't require force. It aligns naturally when you stop gripping so tight. One of the biggest myths is that control equals power. In reality, true power is found in surrender, not in weakness, but in wisdom. You become powerful when you can stay grounded, even when things don't go your way, when you can breathe through uncertainty, when you can walk away from dysfunction without needing to fix it. That's strength. That's self-respect, and it's born from detachment, not because you don't care, but because you care enough about your peace to stop giving it away to chaos. To begin detaching, you have to get honest about what you're holding on to that's weighing you down. Are you obsessing over what someone thinks of you? Are you trying to control how others perceive your worth? Are you replaying old conversations, trying to rewrite them in your head? Are you waiting for someone to finally see your value? Ask yourself, who or what are you giving your emotional power to right now? And is it worth the cost? Once you've identified the attachment, practice presence. Bring yourself back to now. The mind loves to live in the past and future where control feels necessary, but peace lives in the present. When you're present, you don't need to fix everything. You can just be, breathe, feel, trust. That moment of awareness is where detachment begins. You catch yourself spiraling and you pause. You interrupt the habit of needing certainty and choose neutrality instead. Another powerful tool is affirmation. Speak truth to yourself. I release what's not mine to carry. I trust the process, even when I don't understand it yet. My peace is not dependent on outcomes. Repetition of these statements rewires the subconscious mind. The more you say them, the more your nervous system starts to believe them. You move from anxious attachment to grounded acceptance. Detachment doesn't mean you don't love deeply or show up fully. It means your love is clean, your presence is whole, and your peace is intact. It means you're not available for emotional tug-of-wars or mind games. You're not chasing, you're choosing. And when you choose yourself in this way, you become magnetic. People feel the difference. Life feels the shift. You're no longer begging for what you deserve. You're attracting it from a place of wholeness, from a place of strength. At the end of the day, detachment is liberation. It's the art of holding everything with open hands, knowing that what's meant for you won't miss you, knowing that letting go isn't losing, it's making room. And in that room, peace walks in, quiet, steady, unshaken.